Greetings and welcome to Rise of Armenia, a bit of alternative history wherein we will chronicle the story of the Armenians from their beginnings as a humble kingdom to their rightful place on the world stage, as the owner of that stage, and the lights, and the curtains, the props, the scenery, all of it, in fact. We're going to be using Rome Total War to help us tell the tale. But, as you can see by the screen, it's not so simple as that. We're going to be relying on Rome Total War as our base, but we're going to need to be using the Alexander the Great DLC, and, most importantly, the Rome Total Realism mod, Platinum version 2.0. And I'll put links to all of these down there. But if you have not run across the Rome Total Realism mod, and you enjoy Rome Total War, you're going to want to go chase this links down, follow these links and chase this down, because quite frankly, this is a great mod, and we'll talk about that for a little bit before we get started. Total Realism is less a mod than it is a complete reworking of the original game. For instance, the 3 Roman factions have been collapsed into one, and it adds an additional 16 factions, many of which you would have had to have won the original game to unlock. It provides new skins for these units, it creates new units, and it rebalances and readjusts the statistics of all the existent units in the game. The campaign map has been redesigned, primarily by expanding it eastward towards India. In fact, if we survive long enough, we should be able to encounter some of the Indian rebel factions later in the game. I'll be playing the long campaign on medium difficulty settings for the simple reason that I'm not that good. You want legendary difficulty, go watch Legend of Total War's games. The Armenians are a difficult faction in Rome Total Realism, because they must contend with the nearby empires of both Parthia and the Seleucids, while raising a very expensive army. It would not be advisable to take on both of these likely enemies at once. Instead, it may be wiser to ally with another small kingdom in the vicinity, Pontus. With the support gained from each other's forces, you may very well be able to put up a fight against the much larger and more dominant empires of the south and east. Of course, choosing this course of action means that you will eventually have to deal with a Pontic threat. Alternatively, you could choose to strike at Pontus in the beginning and claim their mountainous provinces for your own. Doing this risks the exposure of your back to the Parthians and the Seleucids, both of which would be eager to swallow up a small kingdom such as yours while you were busy waging a petty war with a petty empire. In the 6th century BC, Armenians settled in the kingdom of Areti, the Assyrian name for Ararat, which was in decline. Under Tigrayan the Great, the Armenian Empire reached its height and became one of the most powerful in Asia, stretching from the Caspian to the Mediterranean seas. Throughout most of its long history, however, Armenia has been invaded by a succession of empires. Under constant threat of domination by foreign forces, Armenians became both cosmopolitan as well as fierce protectors of their culture and tradition. Now no longer under the empire of Alexander the Great, Armenia could become an empire of its own once more. Let's take a look at the area that we find ourselves in. We start the game with 2 large towns, Armavir, the first capital of Armenia, founded in 1980 BC by King Aramaeus, and Artaxata. In reality, this had yet to be founded as of 280 BC. It will be constructed, in part, on the advice of a certain Carthaginian general named Hannibal Barca. Right next to us in the west is the rebel city of Kotais, modern-day Kutaisi in Georgia. It's the capital of the kingdom of Colchis. In Greek mythology, it was the home of Medea and the Golden Fleece. Further west is the rebel city of Trapezus, modern-day Trabzon in Turkey. This was the first Greek city that Xenophon and his merry band of 10,000 encountered on their journey home from the Persian Civil War. To the southwest is the kingdom of Pontus. The Pontic kingdom, established by Mithridates I, is only a year old when the game starts. In reality, it will last for about 220 more years before Rome comes knocking. Further south, to the southeast and to the east, is the large kingdom of the Seleucids. Their founder, Seleucus, was one of the successor generals of Alexander the Great that divided up his kingdom after his death. At the start of the game, Seleucus would have been dead for about a year. Way up north, here are the Sarmatians. They are one of the numerous Proto-Iranian steppe peoples in the area. There's a possibility that they were the inspiration for the story of the Amazons, and hopefully we're not going to have to deal with them for a long time. And over here is a little surprise waiting for us if we decide to move east instead of west. But we're not headed east, at least at first. We're going to head west to Kotes. At the beginning of the game, the closest rebel city to us is the city of Kotes. Now, we either try to take that and deal with its army, or you can see that there is a rebel force sitting near the outside of it, and we need to know if we deal with that one first and then turn around and try to deal with Kotes.
My eyes are yours.
Before I do anything, I'm going to take my spy and see if I can't infiltrate the city, see what's there in detail, and perhaps even get a chance to open the gate if I lay siege to the city, and that way we can attack straight away.
Spying.
Okay, so the city garrison is not that intimidating, and it looks like we got a 48% chance of having the gates open when we initially lay siege to the city.
Yes, mighty lord.
Now, let's work our way around this rebel city and go make friends with Pontus.
Yes, my liege.
Okay, there we go. Let's see what kind of deals we can make.
I will speak with them at once.
Perhaps set up a trade deal, maybe exchange some map information. At this point in time, I think I'm just going to try to trade map information for map information instead of trying to make any kind of money out of it. And while we're at it, let's try for an alliance. Sweet! Now we've got some security to the southwest of us. Yay for me.
Awaiting your command.
And we've managed to level up our diplomat a bit. Okay, I'm going to take a final check of our garrison forces, then take a look at the armies in the field and make a decision where to attack first.
Orders!
We can see our capital has a pretty good governor. At age 30, he should be around for quite a while. He's got a clerk that gives him a 10% bonus to taxes collected, and his trait of understanding mathematics gives him a 5% bonus to trade.
Orders!
Our factionary isn't too shabby either. At 31 years old, he too should be around for quite a while. He's got +1 command when attacking, and with the intelligent trait, he's got a couple of nice bonuses as well. Looks like we've got some mercenaries we can hire, and I gotta decide what we're gonna do about that.
Orders! Orders!
As you can see, our faction leader's getting up there in years. I've seen people last as long as 71 to 72 in this game, but that's rare. We need to really work on improving our faction air before the inevitable happens with this guy.
My liege!
We've got a pretty decent army already, but the rebel army in the field is pretty strong, and I really can't afford at this point in time to take too much damage from fighting them and then turn around and try to take the city after that. The long-range missile attack of these Cretan archers are going to make them a most annoying unit to deal with.
Mighty General!
Got the jams, as Etha today are wont to say. One of the things I can do is move up here to the north. That way I can loop around the mountains and attack the city from the north and maybe avoid the rebel force in the field if it's not in a position to reinforce the city when we attack it.
Orders!
Let's join these forces up. We need to get our factioner as much experience as we can so he can be good when he takes over.
Forward! Merging armies! My liege! Mighty General!
These mercenaries are really expensive. Some of them are really good, but really expensive, and money's going to become a problem.
Orders!
Wow, if we take a look at the stats, we can really see how much better the Rhodian slingers are to our archers, but at 1,500 a pop, you're going to have to really make some tough decisions.
Mighty General! Sire!
Okay, I think I'm going to take the plunge and hire a unit of Rhodian slingers. I'm a big fan of missile troops, and given their range and damage, I think it's really going to help this army do what it needs to do.
My liege! Can't do it, sire! Orders!
Okay, instead of heading up north and trying to loop around the mountains, I think I'm going to take the more direct approach.
March!
Move here, wait for a bit, and see what the AI is going to do. If it's going to challenge me in the field, or maybe, if I get lucky, it will move off somewhere else and free up the city for our attack. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and lower the tax rate in both of our cities. I'm not too worried about civil unrest at the moment, but it's an overabundance of caution just to see how long we can go before we hit civil unrest, and it will help the population growth, and growth is very important for our cities. On second thought, I think I'll keep the taxes in our capital at very high. We've got good growth rate at 3%, and the money will come in handy.
Sire! Sire!
Oh, what the heck. Let's splurge on another unit of Rhodian slingers. The more missile troops I have in my army, the happier I am. I should have let my factioner hire these mercenaries to see if he could have picked up the mercenary captain for his entourage. I don't think I can do anything more for the present moment, so it's time to move on to the next turn. And none of this seems to affect me.
Sire!
Okay, it looks like the rebel army in the field has made an interesting choice. I think I'm going to take the gift that they have given me and make an assault on the city and secure that first. Hopefully, the AI is not going to use this as an excuse to work around behind me and sack my capital while I'm busy taking over their city.
Move out! Forward!
I still don't see the rebel field army. That's a good sign. I don't think I'm going to have too much problem in attacking this settlement.
Mighty General! Attack! Besieging settlement, sir.
It looks like the spy was successful and managed to get the city gates open for us. We could go for a night attack, but on second thought, I don't think we're going to do that. It looks like this is going to be an easy victory. We outnumber them, and we have more missile troops than they have, which is going to prove to be their downfall. And let's take a moment to listen to what our general has to say to rally his troops and prepare them for the coming battle.
The smell, worse than any camel, is the enemy. Fear has unmanned them. Fear of you, oh brave warriors! Fear of you! Some of us may soon be dead, but the survivors will drink to their memory. So, fight with honor. That way, you are remembered with honor.
And a fine example of speechifying by our general. Now let's take a moment to admire our troops before the battle begins.
Whips!
Well now, I think that's enough lollygagging. Time to get the troops arranged for the coming battle.
On my orders!
So we have a typical large town with a wooden palisade, and it looks like we can't see the disposition of the garrison. This seems kind of odd, as we have a spy in the city who has somehow managed to wreck the gates, but he can't see and tell us where the enemy units seem to be.
Cataphracts! General!
Since we can't see the disposition of the troops, although I don't think they're going to sally forth in this case, I'm going to put my infantry units up front, I'm going to put my missile units behind them for some protection, and then I'll put the horse archers on the flanks.
Units!
And at this point, I think we can speed things up. That's going to do it for now. After all, this is just the prologue of the second greatest story ever told. In Chapter 1, we will see how the assault on Kote shapes up. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I will see you again.